Hello guys, I'm Super Ron. Welcome back to the channel and we're here for another amazing episode at Auto Shack. We've got a great selection of cars in this week. We've got this Mk2 Golf, which I've been doing quite a lot of work in the background on. It's a genuine GTI 8 valve and it came to us mid-conversion with a SEAT IBIZA ABF 16 valve engine. Another company had fitted the engine, tried to get up and running, but they had all sorts of trouble. They had an old immobiliser set fire under the dash and they had lots of trouble getting it up and running. So I've just been going through a few bits on that and it's almost complete and it's all up and running. And behind me on the ramp, we've got this Honda Civic Type R. We've got full new brakes, refurbished calipers, discs, pads, the whole lot going on. So it's going to look brand new inside the wheels. And we've also got a full silicone hose set in the engine bay. So it's all going to be bright red in there. First of all, I'm going to get the Honda done, get that down off the ramp and get the Mk2 back on the ramp and finish this one off as well. These are the parts for the Honda. We've got a full silicone hose set, so that's going to be a fun little jigsaw working out where all these go. We've got fully refurbished calipers. They've all been rebuilt, powder coated up and painted and detailed. Got a full set of hell braided lines. Got all four calipers, got the rear beam and a clutch line as well, so we've got all them to fit. We've got new discs and pads all round as well. So let's get these fitted on. And this is what they look like from the factory. All grotty and horrible. And the discs and pads are completely worn out as well. And same on the rears, discs and pads are all down to their wear limits, so we're going to replace the whole lot. And all on and looking a lot better. The new calipers look very, very flash now. All with new flexies. In typical Honda fashion, of course, we had some snap bolts, so we had to drill and tap the disc and retainer bolts. But that looks better. So now onto the rear. And that's the rear all complete. Looking much better. Got all the new flexies on, handbrake cables all back on. Got this side on as well. And the ones underneath all done as well, so we've got no rubber hoses at all, with braided hoses from the body to the beam too. So now to the engine bay. Just got to work out where all these hoses line up in here. And all colour coded up. That looks much better. Got all the way to the back, all the heater matrix pipes, the vacuum pipes, the EVAP pipes, and then gave it a full service, spark plugs, oil and filters. So now we're all bled up, clutch is bled, brakes are bled, it's ready for a test drive. The first time I've been in one of these Civic Type R's. It's like a little spaceship in it. We fit the e-back springs a little while ago, so with these new brakes, it makes it a nice little hot hatch. The best thing about the Hondas, the VTEC, yo. So on to the next one. And on to the Mk2. This came to us as an unfinished conversion. We got a bit of a backstory from the owner. It's always great to hear a story behind the car. And he got this way back in 2013 and he drove it around completely standard for a few years. It's a genuine 1991 GTI big bumper model in this gorgeous royal blue. You really don't see many in this colour, and it was originally an 8 valve engine. After a few years of driving it around, he decided he wanted a 16 valve conversion. So he got a donor car of a 1998 SEAT IBIZA GTI and got this 2 litre 16 valve ABF engine. He took it to a local garage to him in Milton Keynes, and they said they'd take on the conversion. But unfortunately, they had a lot of trouble. It didn't go to plan. There was an aftermarket immobiliser inside that caused them some trouble and actually caught fire. And then they had other problems with the wiring. And I think they ended up just got a bit fed up with it, didn't do any more, and just left it in the corner. So then he took it to another garage. They started having a little look around it, but it seems they weren't too enthusiastic either, and it just sat there for another few years. So now it's come to us to get finished off, and I went in and investigated what all the trouble was. this should be a really straightforward conversion because the Ibizas are CE2 fuse boxes, so is this Mark II, so it should be pretty much all plug and play, all bolt in. The SEAT Ibiza is basically a Mark III Golf underneath, so it should almost be bolt in and plug and play. So I need to find out why they're having so many trouble. As the loom was a bit wrapped up suspiciously, I unwrapped everything and there's a few plugs cut off here and there. So I put everything back together how it should be, taped it all back up again and gave it a crank, but we weren't getting any fuel pressure. So I checked out the tank, and because it had been sitting for 6 or 7 years, the fuel pump had died just with the fuel sediment sitting in it. So we managed to get hold of a genuine pump which goes in the swirl pot, put a new filter on, fresh fuel, and with that it primed up and started straight up. So it seems the bad luck for this car is now to an end and it's back up and running. We managed to source a big bumper, so we've just got to paint the lower half because obviously we couldn't find one in this rare royal blue. So we'll get that painted, get this on, and I think the owner is going to be very, very happy to have it back on the road. And Lee painted the bumper, so we've just got that all on, looking good in the royal blue. And because of the age, because it's been off the road for so long, just done a water pump and cam belt. Apparently the 2016 garage did do a water pump, but that was super noisy, so a little bit suspicious about that one. Now, put it all back together and we'll try and get it through an MOT. And that's all the interior back in, all the trims back on, and I wired up an OBD port to the ECU, so in this 1991 Mark II Golf we can actually plug in our scanner and check the engine for codes. No codes present. And back from MOT, and considering it's not been MOT since 2015, it's not done too bad. It has failed, but nothing major. Got a brake light not working, but they were working, so it must be a little loose connection in the bulb holder because we did check all the lights and they were all working, so that should be an easy fix. Off-site headlight aim too low, easy fix. Near side front inner CV boot deteriorated, so we'll replace that, nice easy job. Steering rack gaiter missing or no longer prevents ingress of dirt, nice easy fix. Steering system fouling offside front, wheel fouling anti-roll bar on lock. Well, it is pretty slammed down, so we might just have to raise it a bit. On these sometimes, on lock, when they're super low, the steering arms do touch. And tyre fouling the part of near side rear. So we might just have to raise it up a little bit. We changed the wheels. He supplied some 16-inch steelies, so we put brand new tyres on because the old tyres were all cracked and deteriorated, so they wouldn't have got through. So it should be nice, easy jobs to get all this finished and back to the customer. All nice and easy. CV boot split, steering gaiter split. On the rear, see the spring perch is just touching the tyre there, so if we raise it up a bit, that will solve that. Got the new bits, let's get them on. New CV boot on, nice and easy on these, they're all bolt on, so no squeezing over, nice and tidy. And a new steering boot on there as well. Sorted the headlight aim all out. And instead of raising it up, we'll just put spacers on the rear so they clear the springs. Brake light's done, so we're all ready for a retest. And all done, back on the ground. We've got all the jobs ticked off that it failed the MOT on. And also I noticed on the test drive, the speedo didn't work, so I just checked out the cable and it turned out they hadn't put it in the gearbox correctly. So just pop that in its location and now the speedo works. So we've got a full house of everything works on the car. So we can re-MOT it and get it back to the customer. And hopefully after so long, he can start enjoying the car again. So with this one all done, it's on to the next car. And would you believe it is another Mark II Golf GTI 8 valve with a 16 valve ABF conversion, exactly the same as this one. This one is a VW engine from a Mark III Golf, whereas this one was from the SEAT Ibiza GTI, but it's the exact same ABF engine. This one is more like what we're used to seeing. This is a black small bumper GTI, whereas this one was a bit special with a super rare royal blue big bumper model. But as we know what we're doing with Mark IIs, this is going to be a breeze. There's quite a big job to do on this one. It's a bit of a recommission as well, but this one is all up and running, but it's got a lot of cracked vacuum hoses. It needs a clutch that we're going to fit. It's got a tubular 4-branch manifold, a full exhaust system, and then going around the whole car, just getting everything working for the owner to enjoy this one as well. So all the classic Mark IIs are coming back out. So that's going to wrap up this video. Make sure you give it a like for the Japanese fun and these classic Germans, and be sure to subscribe because there's always something new here at Auto Shack. We put all our progress up on our socials, so I'll put them linked down in the description, because who knows what we're going to have next. It could be supercars, could be classic cars, cars, could be hot hatches. There really is no telling. So I'm super pleased that we've got this one all finished off and roadworthy after being off the road for so long and being at so many different garages that failed to get it up and running. That's the kind of thing that gives me great pride in the work that I do here. But until next time, make sure you have fun.